We're going to go live, and we've got the link to the live stream. I'm going to put the link to the live stream in the lecture announcements channel. For anybody who's here and is kind of already tuned in and ready to be here and follow along, if you guys can go from here to the YouTube live stream so that you can leave spaces open for some of the Jeffries who join in, and they might not be able to like watch through YouTube. They might need to be closer to me. So we only have 50 spots for people who can see the video here in the VC. So if you're one of those 50 people who are watching the video in the VC right now, if you guys can, go over to the YouTube and just join the live stream through there, because you guys have the concentration and the good conditions to follow along with that. But some people it's going to be really difficult for them to follow along unless they can be just naturally here. And I want to make sure those spaces are open. Okay? You guys know what I'm saying? All right. So I want to first start off with a really simple lesson that's important for everybody on the self-improvement journey. And I think you guys will be able to understand this clearly. All right? Maybe you guys have heard the saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So what does a single step begin with? What does a single step begin with? It begins with solid footing. It begins with balance, stability. It begins with not just getting up from crawling and wiggling, kind of being tipsy-turvy and unstable, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And that single step begins with stability. So we actually start our self-improvement journey by stopping. If you can't stop, then you can't start. If you can't stop, then you can't really start, and you won't be able to continue on your journey. It's just like someone who's beginning. W's in the chat, everybody. W's in the chat. So it's just like somebody who is a baby who is starting to walk, right? And they can walk a little bit, but they're unstable. So they can't even walk 30 feet, let alone 1 mile. We have to come back to a place of stability, getting grounded, recognizing where we are right here and right now. And that starts with bringing our mind home to the body, connecting with the body, connecting with the present moment experience of being in the here and the now, right? If you can't be in the here and the now, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to develop yourself in a meaningful way. So how do we start to stop? Bring your mind home to the body. And we're going to get into all the other stuff too. There's going to be time for questions and sharing experience and all that stuff, advice, all right? But unless we can connect with our breathing, unless we can connect with our body and really be here and really show up to this moment, then all the advice, even the best advice in the world, even Jesus or Muhammad or the Buddha or Hamza himself showing up and being there in front of you, right? It's not going to be able to do any good because you haven't stopped. So you're not able to start. This is the stopping point, and that also means that this is the starting point. You guys may not have another opportunity to talk to a Buddhist monk. You guys may not have another opportunity to be like face to face with a real mentor and get some actual advice that comes from a perspective where they're not just trying to sell you something or promote some narrative, but is really here to answer questions and help you. So I want you guys to do your very best to make use of this opportunity. Okay, because this is a rare opportunity. And one of the most important things that you guys need as a young man, as a young person on your self-improvement journey is mentorship, is someone who can look you in the eyes and say, hey, let's take a look at this. Let's work with this. Let's approach it from a different direction. All right? Is everybody following along so far? Everything clear so far? And make sure that you keep your mic muted, or I'll mute it for you. We can put some W's in the lecture chat. Anyone who's here and is kind of focused and is making a commitment to join for this full lecture, or at least the next, 20, 30 minutes or so, please consider to join through the YouTube live stream. In that way, you'll leave space open for people to just join right here in the VC and still be able to see the video, because we have a 50 member limit on the video stream. It's in lecture announcements. Yeah, you got it, brother. All right. So being aware of the sensitivity and being aware of the vulnerability of present moment experience is really powerful and really essential. Most things in your life, most things in reality, you don't know. Most people you don't know, most languages you don't know, most experiences you don't know so much about, most philosophies, right? So rather than trying to understand everything, we can start by understanding not understanding. I know this sounds a little bit weird, but what it really means is that we can start by kind of opening up to our experience that we're having right now that is mostly not about understanding. So it's opening to this place of not knowing. Hang in there with me. Don't run off just yet. Because this lecture and my presence and what I do is a little bit different from what Hamza does, or a little bit different from what Andrew Tate or social media influencers do. In that I'm not here to sell you anything, and I'm not here to promote myself or promote some kind of belief system or ideology. I'm here to give you practices that you can either apply or not apply. And if you apply them, you will get an experience, and then you can come back to me and say, oh, okay, how does this affect you? I'm not here to sell you anything. Certainly not here to make you be a Buddhist. When I was young, when I was growing up, from 12 to 18, I can't think of a single mentor that I had. I can't think of a single role model that I had. I can't think of a single moment where someone sat me down, looked me in the eyes and said, hey, let's take a look at this from a different perspective. What's going on here? What is this? What is reality? What is truth? How can we show up in this life to make a real, meaningful change on our mind? What is the mind? Well, what it certainly isn't is just whatever random thoughts or intellectual ideas that we can come up with. That's certainly not the mind. That's certainly not reality. That's just some idea. That's just some story. So here, rather than some particular philosophy or looks-maxing or idea or belief system, here what's most important is the questioning itself, the showing up itself, really being here. And then from that, we can start to explore reality. We can explore our direct experience. We can find more things to make direct use of, rather than just thinking. This lecture isn't about thinking. It's not about the ego. It's not about you getting what you want. It's not about me getting what I want. It's about showing up. It's about being here, not just in terms of thinking, not just in terms of a story, not just in terms of what we desire or what we fear, but showing up. And then we can try to make use of our monk bro Adonis, not to believe in him, not to get attached to him, not to like and subscribe or follow him necessarily, although you guys are welcome. I'm here to support y'all. But to make use of this moment, make use of this experience. Not just belief, not just stories, not just ideas. Not just the past or the future, but right here, right now. This is what this server is all about, connecting you guys with people who have success on the self-improvement journey. So if you are concerned with self-improvement, if you're concerned with this community, this is the place to be. All right? Should I give a little bit of a background about myself and how I got here and kind of what we're going to do in this lecture? The lecture chat channel is open. So for text communication, y'all can go to the lecture chat channel and you can answer my question through that. You guys know where lecture chat is? It's open. It should be open for everybody. Lecture chat. Not the VC chat, but the lecture chat. Okay. Yeah. So mixed into the left side of the headset. Well, I'm sorry about that. That's not the intention of what we're doing here. Stereo, is that better? Is that more clear? Hopefully it's not just the left side. Okay, so this is a really good example and a really good teaching before we move forward anymore, right? You've got to get into a way of practice. You've got to get into a way of showing up where you don't just quit because it's not exactly the way that you want it to be, right? Because so many of us, we have this intention or we have this interest like, hey, I'm interested in the self-improvement journey, or I'm interested in getting advice, or I'm interested in meditation, or I'm interested in, changing my life and developing myself, right? But the moment that it's not exactly the way you want it to be, you quit, you leave, you run the other way, right? So we've got to get into a mindset, we've got to get into an approach where we are willing to show up and we are willing to try and we are willing to listen even though it's not exactly perfectly the way that we want it to be. Now that doesn't mean that you just believe whatever I say or you just are blind, deaf, and dumb and you just follow blindly, but it's this way of showing up and being willing to show up and try and have an experience. Not just complicated thinking, not just running towards this, running away from that, you know what I mean? But to really show up, to really be here, to really try. Give it a sec. To breathe and be aware. To listen, to open up to this experience. So a little bit of background about me and how I got here. So my name is Bhante Warapanyo. I am a 30-year-old Buddhist monk originally from America. When I was young, I came from a broken family, a broken home. So my parents were divorced and I didn't have a lot of stability growing up. And that meant that my mind was unstable. And from adolescence to when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I had a lot of suffering. I caused a lot of suffering for myself, and I caused a lot of suffering for the people around me. I never really had someone who sat me down and said, hey, I'm here for you. Let's talk about how to deal with the mind or how to approach life, or really questioned me or challenged me to what is your direct experience? what is the truth? What's going on here? Let's take a look. I never felt like I had that, and because of that, I was just lost. And after I graduated high school, my mental, emotional, and psychological health really took a turn for the worst. And I found myself to be really unskillful in terms of my mental actions, my physical actions, and my verbal actions, which led not only to me having like a generally really difficult mindset and situation, but I was acting in a way where I was causing more and more suffering for myself and also for the people that were around me. So I was like working myself into anxiety. I was working myself into depression. I was working myself into instability. Eventually it got to a point where I was drinking, I was smoking, I was isolated, I was really confused and unstable. And I found myself to be in a position where I was completely losing my mental health. At that time, I had already kind of learned about meditation and like quote unquote spirituality, or like these different ways of approaching my mind and reality that could hopefully bring me some healing. And so at a certain point I said, okay, I'm really unstable, I'm really mentally unwell. What if I went to live at a meditation center, or like a place where people are meditating and living together in a spiritual way? Somehow I was lucky enough to go and stay at a Zen Buddhist meditation center for 1 year. So from this 1 year of training, where I was basically getting advice about living, like being good, and I was meditating regularly, and I was in community, and also attending intensive meditation retreats for like this 1 year period, I healed a lot. My mind healed a lot because I was meditating every day. I was in community with like well-minded, compassionate people. And also I was getting some like philosophical teachings or encouragement for how to frame my mind and understand my reality. So after that, I was able to become successful in like my business life. I had a great job, I had a great car, I had a great relationship. I had a really great lifestyle living in Seattle. And I found that for me, that wasn't real freedom. So I gave all that up and I moved to Thailand and became a Buddhist monk. That was in 2018. So since 2018, I have been living full-time as a Buddhist monk throughout Southeast Asia. I've traveled the world many times. I have worked directly with Hamza on Adonis School. I have a large following on TikTok, on YouTube, and I run the most active Buddhist Discord server and also the most active meditation Discord server online. And one of the like fundamental parts of my practice and how I approach my life is to emphasize generosity, emphasize being good or being virtuous, and to emphasize mindfulness. So like emphasize, okay, being in the present moment, coming back to the present moment, being mindful, being in the here and now. This is also the general approach of like Buddhist practice or Buddhist philosophy, to be good and do good rather than focusing on feeling good. And we have this understanding that like, okay, if you can't be generous, then how are you going to be good or do good? Because if you can't practice generosity, then everything about your life is just desire and fear. Everything about your life is basically getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. So a fundamental premise and approach that I want to share with you guys and teach with you guys and y'all, maybe some guys and gals and who knows who's here, right? One of these really fundamental approaches that I want to share with you is to start doing actions of generosity, right? Start doing actions where you take something that you're attached to, take something that is valuable to you, and offer that out. Give that away. Share that out for the others. Now, when you do that, it's like you're exercising this ability to have something that you're holding on to, have something that you're attached to, and then give that away. So when we exercise that in the simplest way, just doing actions of generosity for our family, for the people that are around us, even for ourselves in a certain sense, like donating, volunteering, cleaning the house, whatever it is, right? When we can start to do that, when we can start to practice that, we can open up the space of our mind. We can open up the space of our heart so that we can start regulating our mental, physical, and verbal actions. Now you will have a kind of way of being that is not just about desire or fear, but you will have a way of being where you can be mindful, be in the present. So start to do actions of generosity. Start to recognize something that you're attached to, recognize something that's valuable to you, and then give that away. Offer that out. Share that out. Okay? Now, a premise of this, or a part of this, is that you have something that you get stuck in. Like somebody comes up in here and makes a bunch of noise, and you react to that, or you grasp onto that. If you start practicing generosity, if you develop this power of generosity, then even though that happens, even though some situation comes up and you grasp onto that, you can detach from it. You can be stoic about it. You can let go of it. You don't get lost in it. Now, from that place of being able to be generous with what you hold on to, now we can talk about virtue. We can talk about morality. I want to say this to you guys 100%. I want to be clear about this. The foundation of the self-improvement journey is virtue. The foundation of the self-improvement journey, the foundation of you guys avoiding getting into mental health issues or social health issues or emotional health issues, right? The foundation of that is all about being good, being virtuous. What does that mean? Well, it basically means being generous. It basically means watching your mental and physical and verbal conduct so that you're not harming others and you're not harming yourself. Now, in Buddhism, we have like a framework. So there's a framework that we use that you guys can also use, but it doesn't need to be about Buddhism. Okay, it just means that you guys need to have some framework or some tools that you can use for how to move forward on being good, on being virtuous. Start with the major focus on doing actions of generosity, because anything of like being virtuous or being good is going to have a direct connection to being generous, sharing out, being beneficial, helping out, right? Not just being selfish. So it's very important that you guys can focus as much as you can during this lecture and listen as deeply as you can, because we're not talking about the usual stuff here. We're not talking about shallow ideas here. We're actually talking about really deep principles of the mind and how you can start to regulate your mental, verbal, and physical conduct to go from a Jeffrey to an Adonis. Okay, so this is the really high-level stuff that we're working with here, and the more that you guys can concentrate and listen deeply, the more benefit that you're going to get from it. Okay? Is that clear, everybody? Okay, very good. All right, okay. Don't need to talk too much. We are easy to get distracted and get lost in the sauce, so to speak. Okay. So, starting by doing actions of generosity. Okay? And also it's not about what you think. You guys have done enough thinking. You guys have done enough talking. You guys have done enough, contemplating or thinking about what to do. Now it's time to act. So we start by doing actions of generosity, and then there's 5 guidelines that you can follow. Don't kill, or respect all life. you keep this in your mind. You write this down on your wall. You make this like a principle that you incorporate into your overall life. And this brings mindfulness to your whole life. And it also brings like skillfulness to how you regulate your mental, physical, and verbal actions all the time. So these 5 principles you guys can use. These are to be used only. These aren't to be attached to, right? Buddhism is to be used only. It's not to be attached to. I say that for myself. I know you guys aren't Buddhist, but not to get attached to it, not to be a believer, but to be a practitioner. Okay? Not to be a believer, but to be a practitioner. And to remember, this lecture is not about you. This lecture is not about what you think. This lecture is not about your opinions. This lecture isn't a discussion. I'm here to give you advice. I'm here to help you guys out. I'm not here to have a discussion with people who consider themselves to be intellectuals. That's not what's going on here. We've got to set a line. You're here to listen or get out of the way. You're here to listen or get out of the way. Is that understood? Is that understood? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's continue. All right, let's not get lost in the sauce on that either. Let's go forward. Now, so respect all life or don't kill. Number 2, don't steal. Respect other people's possessions. This can also be like don't snoop. So don't spend time gossiping. Don't spend time like trying to look into other people's business. Don't take what's not offered. Respect other people's possessions. Don't kill, don't steal. Respect life, respect people's properties. Number 3, okay? Don't lie, don't speak harshly, and don't chit-chat. Now, don't chit-chat is a little bit higher level practice, but you can incorporate that as well. Don't steal, don't kill, don't lie or speak harshly. Don't chit-chat. Don't waste your speech. Be very careful with your speech. And be very careful with the spaces that you put yourself in with other people's speech that's just chit-chatting or out of control or just people talking crap. Because that is going to influence your mind. Okay? Number 4, don't commit sexual misconduct. This is deeper and this is more real than nofap. We shouldn't reject sexuality. And we shouldn't also attach to sexuality. We need to know how to be skillful with sexuality, be skillful with sexual energy. So don't commit sexual misconduct. What does that mean? It means that we are not acting in a way sexually, with our sexual energy, that harms ourselves or harms the others. All right? We're not acting in a way with our sexual energy that harms ourselves or harms the others. This is difficult stuff, guys, but it's worthwhile to make this really important in our lives. And number 5, don't take drugs or intoxicants. Don't drink alcohol, don't smoke weed, don't intoxicate your mind. This can also go along with like heavy caffeine use, right? Caffeine can be used as a tool. Caffeine is not inherently like intoxifying us, but we need to be careful about how we use caffeine. Okay? So what are those 5 principles? What are those 5 guidelines? If you can take notes on this lecture, that's going to be a great idea. That's going to be a very good use of your time to take notes on this talk. For anybody who wrote that down, you can post these notes in the general chat. You guys can post these notes in the general chat. All right? Don't kill or respect all life. Don't steal or respect other people's properties. Don't lie or speak harshly or waste time in chit-chat. Don't commit sexual misconduct. And don't take drugs or intoxicants. 5 principles for living a virtuous life. So, the entry point for being virtuous, is being generous. The entry point for being virtuous is being generous. The entry point for meditation is being virtuous. So once we start to like watch over and take care of our overall conduct in our life, right? Now we become receptive to the practice of meditation. And once we can exercise generosity, we can naturally become receptive to like regulating our overall actions of our life in a way that's not just about our desire or our fear. Do we have anybody who's following along and understanding what's being said here? If you are following along and understanding what's being said here, let's get some W's in the general chat, and let's get some Adonis emojis in the general chat, and let's get some people who are saying, I am ready to do the work in the general chat. I am ready to do the work. I am ready to do the work. And some people kind of ask a question, all right, let's slow down, let's bring it back to center, bring it back to the present moment. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Breathe out. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Breathe out. Don't spam the general chat anymore. Okay, let's quiet down. The purpose of life, as far as I understand it, and I feel this is a really worthwhile, deep and meaningful purpose. The purpose of life is to do good and help others do good. It is to develop a deeper understanding, a deeper wisdom, and to help others develop a deeper wisdom and a deeper understanding. That is what this life is all about. It's not about thinking. It's not about some complicated philosophy. It's not about getting what you want from other people or getting what you want from the environment. It's about taking what you have and offering it out. Those habit energies and that momentum of like desire and fear and profit and you want to get a good girlfriend and have a good relationship or boyfriend or whatever, that stuff's already there. You've already got that drive. So you don't need to prioritize that. You need to prioritize being good and doing good. Using this body and mind for the others. Using this body and mind for supporting the community. This is how you naturally become a leader. This is how you naturally grow and develop. And then you'll be ready to make use of anything, everything. Anyone, everyone. Make use for what? For doing good deeds more and more. For being mindful more and more. For being in the present more and more. To be ready to listen. Because I'll tell you guys, there are people who have success in peace. There are people who have success in wisdom. There are people who have success in being good and doing good and being free. And we need to be ready to listen and follow those people and be ready to receive their advice. I have a lot of people who are following me, right? I have 100K on TikTok. I'm coming up on 10K on YouTube, which is pretty cool, pretty big deal, right? I get a lot of people who reach out to me and want to chit chat. They want to talk. They want to write about their problems, or they want to say hello. Well, you need to be someone who's ready to say, you need to get into this frame of mind because this is what can be made use of. You need to be ready to say, hey, I saw your stuff. You seem like you know what you're doing. What do I do? Point me in the right direction. That's the mindset you need to be in. You need to be a practitioner rather than a believer. You need to be a doer rather than a thinker. You need to be someone who's ready to be generous and ready to be good and ready to do good, rather than someone who's so focused on feeling good that they think the world is about them. Because for those people who are ready to do good, for those people who are ready to develop and practice and train and change their mind and change their life, I've got resources for you guys. I've got directions I can point you guys in that are going to change your mind and change your life and going to set you up to be free and safe and healthy and wealthy. Because I've been through it, guys. I've been through the Adonis life, or I've been through the Jeffrey lifestyle. I've been through the anti-Adonis lifestyle, because a lot of people go from being Jeffreys to being anti-Adonises. They become strong in being negative. They become strong in harming themselves and harming the others. So I want you guys to really be ready to make use of this opportunity, because I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't want to sell you guys anything. I don't want your guys' money. I don't need your guys' clout or something like that. I'm here to help. I'm certainly inspired that we have so many people right here, right now. We've got more than 100 people that are coming together to listen to this and be mindful and be in this moment together. So of course I'm inspired by that. That gives me energy to continue my practice. But I'm just here to help set you guys on the right path and give you guys accesses to the right resources that are ultra high level, that are ultra real deal, point blank period, use it and go forward, and that's it. Now, even if you have that mindset where you're like, okay, monk bro, I see your stuff. This seems like the real deal for me. What do I do moving forward? Can you point me in the right direction? Even if you have that mindset, which is a good mindset to have, right? It's no substitute for the willingness to try. That intention to try, that intention to do good, that intention to be good, that intention to be generous, that intention to try is the essential point. Because, I can tell you guys all, meditation apps and talks to listen to and things for you to do, but none of that is going to be a substitute for that intention to try, right? Because to become a runner, you've got to be a jogger. And to become a jogger, you've got to be a walker. And what does it take to be a walker? It takes the intention to step out and walk. And one step after another step. So we've got to deepen that heart. We've got to deepen that sincerity. We've got to deepen that willingness to try. To try what? To try to be generous. To try to offer out and share out and help out with what we already have. And from there we can naturally remember, oh, monk bro. We can go in the direction of the resources, and then we can get the resources that are available, and we can put them into practice, not just once, not just twice, not just 1,000 times, but continuously, moment by moment by moment. And this moment has everything that you need to find peace. This moment has everything you need to go from a Jeffrey to an Adonis, just like that. That question of where to start, right? So someone might now say, someone just said, where to start? Because some people are watching me through TikTok. So they said, where to start? You need to be ready to ask that question again and again and again. Because so many people have the hello mindset. Right? People are message, because sometimes I have streams on TikTok that kind of go viral. So it's like thousands of people, come across me, and then I've got all these messages that are in my inbox that say hello. What are you talking about, hello? Goodbye, right? And even that message that says where to start, it seems like the mindset is in the right place, But you've got to be ready to ask that question again and again and again. Where to start? Where to start? Monk bro, where to start? Because I'm available. I'm accessible. That's my practice, guys. I'm not selling anything. I'm accessible. I'm here to support you guys. But you got to be ready to ask that question again and again and again. Because you've got to be ready to practice again and again and again. You've got to be ready to try again and again and again. You've got to be ready to breathe again and again and again. Okay, so let's all take a collective deep breath in. Breathing in, we know we are breathing in. Breathing out, we know we are breathing out. Do you guys remember the teaching that we started this lecture with? The teaching of the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What does a single step begin with? It begins with stability. It begins with being stable. Being here. If you can't be here, then you can't develop. You can't go forward. So we have to start by stopping. And the real questions and the real generosity and the real success that you're going to get, whether in this lecture or on this self-improvement journey, is all about this willingness to start by stopping. Just being here is enough. Just breathing is enough. Because that just enough, that just breathing is enough, that just being here is enough, is the stabilization point. It's the stability point to step forth in a real, meaningful, and deep way. Not the shallow way. And it's a way to step forth in a sustainable way, in a continuous way. Okay? We start by prioritizing actions of generosity. Then we step on to the prioritization of being virtuous, being good. A simple model: don't kill, or respect all life, respect the properties of others. Be very careful with your speech. Don't speak harshly, don't lie, don't chit-chat. Speak skillfully, speak wisely. Don't commit sexual misconduct. Be very careful with your sexual energy. And don't take drugs or intoxicants. Guys, y'all, these are principles for how to structure your self-improvement journey moment by moment. Put these on your wall, put these in your heart, keep these in mind, and bring it into your daily life, whatever that daily life looks like. Because these 5 principles will bring your daily life into a moment-by-moment life. When it comes to meditation, I want to be really blunt and I want to be really clear about this. Meditation is exploration. Meditation is exploration. And if you aren't generous and if you don't really care about being overall skillful in your life in a way that's not just about selfishness, then you're not going to be receptive to meditation, and it's just going to be like trying to train your bicep when you're actually trying to train your brain. So I did this analogy with somebody earlier. So if we think about meditation in the way that we're like training our bicep, then it's like, okay, yeah, you can force yourself to meditate. You can force yourself to like exercise and get a little bit more concentration, a little bit more relaxation. And it's just like with the bicep, like you can do that and it gets bigger and it gets stronger, right? Just through force. But the muscle that we're training in meditation is the muscle of the mind. And so what is the mind muscle? Well, let's just say, for the sake of this analogy, it's the brain. The brain is a lot more in depth than the bicep. So if you actually want to train the brain, don't just think of it in terms of training the bicep, because yeah, you might make it a little bit stronger, but you're not really training the mind. You're just training this small little part of your mind. So meditation is exploration. All right? Now, 2 avenues, 2 points of contact I can give you guys. All right? And I want to make this very, very simple and very blunt and direct. 2 points of contact. One, and I'm putting it, one is that, one is the Plum Village app. I just put it in the lecture announcements channel. Plum Village app. This is the de facto, this is the recommended app for meditation as exploration. So when you guys get that mindset to explore meditation or to step into a meditative way of being, okay, this is the recommended app. And how do you approach that app, or how do you use that app? From a place of exploration, right? From a place of sincerity. You can get it on Google App Store. You can get it on Apple App Store. Plum Village app. Now, the other avenue that may be workable for you guys, but isn't necessarily ideal, is that, of course, you can follow my YouTube channel, or you can follow the live events that I do, because I am involved with guiding meditation and doing these practices. But the way that I guide meditation is a little bit more advanced or wisdom focused. So it might not be accessible. But the Plum Village app is very, very accessible, so you can use that. Right? Now, going beyond meditation, we talk about wisdom. So wisdom is like a deeper understanding about the principles of reality, or the principles of the mind, rather than the content of the mind. So just 3 very, very simple examples, all right? A cheeseburger or candy appears satisfactory, right? That's why we like candy. Watching a TikTok video or watching like a really interesting YouTube video appears to be satisfying, but it's not actually satisfying, right? Like we're not actually satisfied when we eat candy or when we eat a cheeseburger or whatever. So things appear to be satisfying, but they don't actually satisfy us. The same is true with any thoughts we have or any physical experiences that we have, right? They appear to be satisfying, but they are not actually satisfying. Okay? Number 2 is impermanence, so that things appear to be permanent. Like when you feel, hold on. When you feel anxious, or when you feel depressed, or when like some difficult situation happens, right? It feels permanent, doesn't it? It's like the world is ending. It's this very strong, permanent feeling of difficulty, of negativity, of confusion. Feels like the world's falling apart. But it's actually not permanent. Okay? Our body, or the body of our loved ones, the people we care about, appears to be permanent, but we know deep down that it's not permanent. Right? So there's an appearance in the mind, or an appearance in the world, and it appears permanent, but it's actually not. So everything kind of goes along with that. Everything kind of has that aspect to it, right? So this is impermanence. This is a principle of reality rather than like the content of reality. And then number 3 is separation, right? This idea of separation or this perception of separation, right? So we can say that like a tree appears separately from the earth or separately from the soil, right? But we know deep down that a tree is not separate from the earth, right? A tree is a part of the sun. A tree is a part of the sky. A tree is a part of everything, right? So there's an appearance of separation, but actually there's not, deep down, there's not that real separation that's there. Afi, was that you speaking? Okay. Thank you. So there's a lot of power in starting to recognize and like live according to these principles of the mind or deeper aspects of the mind rather than just the appearances. But we've just got to go back to the starting point, because the starting point is the whole point. The beginning point is the whole journey. So what's the beginning point? Prioritize actions of generosity. Be generous, be good, do good. Okay? Prioritize living a virtuous life, and then meditation as exploration. All right? This is my lecture for everybody here today. I'm so happy that we were able to gather together like this and get to this point. I really, I feel grateful. I feel happy about this. Working with young men and young people and like giving you guys mentoring and being available for you guys and letting you all know that I am here and look, that there are people that care about you and have wisdom and have virtue and have meditation, that are not just trying to sell you something, that this is real, is really important to me. And I feel grateful that I've been able to share and communicate with you guys so far today. Now, like I said, I highly recommend you guys look into the resources of the Plum Village app, which I shared in the lecture announcements. And you can also find my YouTube channel where I give talks and where the recording of this lecture will be. We will now move into a Q&A and sharing experience portion of the event. So for those people who have really deep and meaningful questions stemming from their deeper experience, this will be your chance to unmute and ask your question, and I'll do my best to give a good answer, okay? Thank you guys for listening, for being here. As we are getting into the sharing experience and asking questions portion of the event and the lecture, as we are getting into this part of the lecture, try to be, so like if you feel super excited or like if you have a lot of energy to ask a question, then wait. And if you are a little bit shy about asking your question, then step forward. Right? And that's usually a good rule of thumb. If you're like chomping at the bit to say something or ask something, you can probably wait. And if you have something to ask or something to share, but you feel a little bit shy about it, go ahead, step forward. And the main practice that we can do here is just to listen. Listen deeply, listen from the heart, right? Breathing and listening, and that's like a natural meditation that we can all do together. And we can use the inspiration from this experience, this moment, to listen deeply, to breathe deeply, and really be here in the present moment together. Now, I'm okay if people have like a challenge, if people think they have a different view, or they don't understand something, or they think something is wrong. You can bring that up, you can share that, but do so in a very sincere and deep and real way where you're ready to stand behind your words. This isn't a place to have a discussion. It's, if you want to say something, say it sincerely, say it as a mature person, and be ready to stand behind what you say. And we can talk about it, but let's open the space up now for sharing experience and asking questions. Now, if you have understood this lecture, I do want to see some Adonis emojis in the general chat. Okay, or some W's. If you're watching on TikTok, let's get some W's on TikTok. And if you're watching on YouTube, let's get some W's on YouTube, if you've understood the lecture. How long have you been in this event? Okay, go ahead. Right. Right.
How many should you have? They don't even give good criticism. They don't even give criticism.
Right. So can you repeat your question again, but just very clearly, very directly?
All right. I guess I was speaking too fast. Anyway,
almost
so
like an outside observer. Ask the question as if you were an outside observer.
I don't really know how to do that.
Okay, well, just ask your question again. Go ahead.
So my question is how do you just deal with people just insulting you? Not even like giving criticism, just insulting you. When you try, when you do good, when you do bad, doesn't matter.
So who is insulting you?
My classmates, usually.
Yeah, Broadway, I put my heart on I.
Okay. What kind of things are they saying?
Just meaningless insults.
They just kind of make up some insult.
Yes.
And how do you react when they do that?
Usually with nothing. I just don't respond. But it's probably...
How does it make you feel internally when they insult you? One sec.
Oh, like an outsider?
Yeah, like an outsider. One sec. Friends who are watching on TikTok, please leave TikTok and go to the YouTube channel. On YouTube, we have a 4K live stream. We have HD audio, professional audio. So if you are invested in this stream and in this talk and being able to hear the other people who are asking questions and are attending this lecture, leave TikTok, leave the TikTok app right now and go to YouTube. And the YouTube channel is the same name as my TikTok name. Bhante Varapanyo is my actual name, my monk name. Okay? Please go over to YouTube, everyone on TikTok. Thank you. So when people insult you, you feel like an outsider. And this is a difficult feeling, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to learn how to be inside. We need to learn how to rely on coming inside and looking inside rather than looking outside. You understand? When we are looking out to the environment to define ourselves, then the environment will control us. when we are looking inside to practice being with present moment experience, we will define the environment. When people insult you and when you experience complicated difficulties or confusions, all right, in your life, then you should emphasize to bring the mind back to the body, bring the mind back to breathing. We should become skillful. We should learn how to rely on breathing. We should learn how to rely on breathing rather than relying on thinking. Thinking is not that important. What is really important is to be mindful. What is really important is to be with the body, in the body. So this is going to take time to readjust our way of being from thinking and like this just mindscape and this thinking scape to a way of present moment breathing. Present moment being with the body, being aware rather than thinking. When we encounter those difficult situations outside of ourselves, actually it's a kind of teaching, it's a kind of reminder. Because we recognize, oh, relationships with other people are not satisfactory. It doesn't matter you find the perfect girlfriend, the perfect boyfriend, the perfect best friend. Ultimately, you're not going to be satisfied by that relationship. So we need to learn how to satisfy ourselves with mindfulness, with present moment awareness. And we need to know how to detach from those things that are not satisfactory, right? So we know that cheeseburgers, even though they taste good, are not satisfactory. And we know that those people, even though they are our friends, are not satisfactory. So we become skillful to detach from them, to step back from our involvement with them, to step back from our state of belief or following them or attaching to them. Right? So the next time that your friend insults you, say, that's not my business. Really, they're projecting. Really, they're just projecting their own insecurity, or, maybe their parents act towards them in a particular way that's negative, and then they're projecting that. So when someone insults you, when you experience some kind of difficulty, or come back to the breathing. When your own mind insults you, because sometimes it's going to be your own mind that says you're not good enough, or you did this, or look, you made this problem, you're a bad person. We've got to know how to come back to our breathing and how to uninvolve ourselves with that thinking, that judgment, that negativity. Don't reject it. It's beyond being in conflict with it. It's beyond it being right or wrong. We just unentangling from it. And we can unentangle from it by coming back to our mindfulness, our present moment breathing.
Okay? I understand.
Yeah. And take it slow. It's, like I said, it's all about consistency. And one of the biggest things that you need, Pekka, is role models and mentors and access points for wisdom and for guidance, okay? So that's what I'm here for. And I want you guys to make sure that you know how to get in contact with me. Make sure that you are subscribed on the YouTube, or that you have a way to get back in touch with me if you need to. So you know that I'm there, so that you know that there's an access point here for you. Okay?
All right. I want to recap real quick so if I understand it fully. So, when someone insults you, it's just usually from their own insecurities, that they have their own problems and they see it as a cope. That's from my understanding. When they do it.
That's a part of it, but more important is that you need to detach from that person. That person is not a person. That person is just cause and effect. That person is just a an expression of their parts. It's not about you. It's not about them as an individual. It's just an expression of their experiences up to this point that have led them to, kind of act like that or be in that way. You understand?
Yes.
So don't take it personally, and actually have some kind of compassion for them. Have some forgiveness for them, because they are acting that way because they're suffering, because they have a mindset that's immature or angry or fearful or complicated or delusional, right? So it doesn't mean that we need to, compassion doesn't mean that we're submissive to other people. Compassion doesn't mean that we are following other people or getting involved with them. It means that we recognize suffering, we see that there's suffering, and we wish for that suffering to end. Period. We see that there's weakness, we see that there's confusion, and we wish that that confusion will end. Not about being better than them. It's about awareness and well-wishing.
I see.
I have a question, if I
Go
may
ahead.
ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since one of your principles was that you should respect life, are you a vegan?
We shouldn't attach to being vegan or vegetarian, but we should recognize that through respecting life, it goes along with that first precept, right, of respecting life. It means that we lessen meat consumption. It means that we recognize what goes along with meat consumption, and we don't just eat mindlessly. And we experiment. It means that we start to experiment with eating less meat, with vegetarianism, right? With respecting the life of bugs, right? Respecting the life of animals in all kinds of ways, but not by attaching to vegetarianism or attaching to veganism.
All right, thank you.
Because attachment, grasping will cause you a lot of suffering, and it will cause other people a lot of suffering as well. So try to use vegetarianism, use veganism, experiment with it, and understand the principles of veganism. Why are people vegan? Because they recognize the suffering that goes along with eating meat. They recognize the suffering that goes along with even dairy or eggs. And we should be mindful of that. We should really recognize that for ourselves. That will help us live a more skillful life, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer and the lecture.
Welcome.
I have a question.
Hello. Oh,
Who has a question?
well,
I was just curious. So earlier, let's see if I remember. Earlier, you spoke about how you start by stopping. You start with stability, and I wanted to see if we could go more in depth with how just stopping and being here now helps as a practice to build stability. Like, is it with meditation to build mental stability before beginning with the journey, or?
So it's primarily beginning with actions of generosity. It's primarily beginning with prioritizing actions of generosity. This is going to be the opening point. This is going to be the possibility point. This is going to be the space point. Start doing good deeds. Start doing actions of generosity. From there, virtue, the umbrella of virtue. So you start to carry around with you an umbrella of respecting life, respecting the properties of others, skillful speech. Don't lie, don't speak harshly, don't even chit-chat. Watch your speech, be mindful of your speech. Don't commit sexual misconduct. Be very skillful and wise with your sexual energy, and don't take drugs or intoxicants. We remember it, we incorporate it into our daily life so that our daily life becomes a moment-by-moment life. The more that you can try, the more that you can practice, the more that you can open, the more you can receive. But we have to start with generosity. We have to start with the practice, and then the more that we practice, the more skillful we will be to use the Plum Village app, for example. It's to be simple as possible, natural as possible, open as possible. It's very practical, because we can't force meditation. We can't force to adopt some philosophy or whatever. This is a moment by moment life, right? So we need to do what we can do, and we need to do it more and more. So doing actions of generosity, donating, volunteering, prioritizing generosity, being good and doing good deeds more and more. And then we will be receptive to meditation. As far as being receptive to a meditation mind, use the Plum Village app. And we can also listen to, there are guided meditations we can listen to. There are error code out of memory. I wonder what this out of memory thing is. What is was someone spamming, or someone said a bad word?
No,
Okay.
No, it was all good. No,
Okay,
it was
okay.
all good.
All good.
Actually, everyone was just like, "Oh, Terry
Okay.
went."
Yeah, something weird's happened, and my stuff is saying error code out of memory. I don't know what it is. Anyway.
Well, just because there's so many people, and you're streaming.
No, but it's my YouTube live stream and my Discord are crashing at the same time. So like my Chrome and my Discord are crashing at the same time. Anyway, so it's to really start by being practical, and that's by just being simple and open to the practice rather than the thinking. And the more simple and actionable the practice is, the more you're going to be able to do it continuously and more and more. And the more that you can do it more and more, the more that you'll be able to practice in more direct and meaningful ways. So even though we might like for it to be kind of almost more convoluted or more systematic, or we want it to be special in some way, right? But the real specialness is in the ordinariness of moment by moment application of generosity, of mindfulness, of doing good deeds. That's the power. And so, like I said, we have a very limited bandwidth, right, in terms of how we can think and what we can do and how we can moderate ourselves. So we need to be ready to put into practice what is most simple, what is most actionable, and then from the effects of that, from the positive effects from that, we can get into deeper practices or deeper perspectives or be ready to move forward. But most people are not going to be able to do that. That's the reality. Most people are not going to be able to go to deeper practices. It's just not in the cards. So you need to do what you can do, and what everyone can do, and we will have the good effect from it, is prioritizing generosity and prioritizing doing good and being good over feeling good. And in terms of doing good and being good, you can follow Bhante, you can use the Plum Village app, and naturally from that there will be more practices. But this notion of doing actions of generosity more and more, I know it's like a sandpaper, but it needs to be, because we need to put it deep in our heart and in our intention. So doing actions of generosity more and more, prioritizing it, and then the 5 precepts, prioritizing that in terms of how we live our life, and then, okay, we can follow Bhante, we can follow Monk, and we can especially use the Plum Village app, and we can explore that from a place of receptivity and a place of openness rather than a place of desire and fear.
Right. So it's like carrying with you that love and positivity and just kind of letting go.
Carrying with you the intention and developing the power of the intention, and then mindfulness and doing good deeds. Present moment awareness and doing good deeds more and more. The intention is everything. Okay.
I have a question.
Who's next?
Should I ask?
All right, Nephitis, go ahead.
Yeah, you go first. I'll go after you.
Okay, so earlier on the stream you said something about using others to do generous things, and I was just like confused on what you meant by that.
What's your question?
Like, what did you mean by using others to do generous things?
So we need to know how to use others without attaching to them. So if we are using others for desire and fear, or for getting what we want and avoiding what we don't want, this is using with attachment. If we are using the others for doing good deeds, if we are cooperating, collaborating, communicating about doing good deeds more and more, then this is doing without selfishness. So we should be skillful to do without selfishness. We should be skillful to practice with others, not just talk, not just hang out, not just consume with others, but practice with others. This is difficult, but if we try to do it, then we can become skillful to do it. Mainly, we can use the others to do good deeds by volunteering for them, by donating to them, by doing good deeds, by fulfilling the needs that they have. Okay?
Yeah.
Practice. You know, when you guys get out of this call, a breath of fresh air, and then, okay, what good deeds can I do? And you can also exercise you can do as well is like holding your hands in front of you and looking at your hands and just asking, like, how can I be a good person? And this naturally brings a sense of mindfulness. This naturally brings a sense of present moment awareness. Whereas that desire, that fear, kind of removes us from the present moment awareness. It takes us to the past or the future, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So I had a question about motivation. So I haven't been able to get any motivation at all, and I have been procrastinating, and I don't know what to do.
Here, let's make a TikTok answering that question. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, start doing good deeds. Start being mindful. Listen to a talk from a Buddhist monk. Go for a walk. Breathe and be aware. Don't just hang out and do nothing. Get involved. Start doing good deeds now. It's a good TikTok, right?
Is it okay if I say something about this?
Share your experience. Okay. Have you been here for the full lecture?
I've been in here for like the past 20 minutes, yes.
Okay, what do you want to share?
Talk
about your own experience. Talk about your own experience, okay?
Yeah. Okay, there's been, you can't really force yourself to feel motivated. You just kind of have to, do it out of discipline, if that makes sense. If you
Okay,
really
enough. No unsolicited advice. Unsolicited advice is problematic. Because one of the things, all right, when I say start doing good deeds, or when I say start practicing generosity, I'm not talking about you guys being good for your parents or for the society. I'm talking about a very deep fundamental principle for the mind. You have something that you're grasping onto. You have something that you're holding onto, something that's precious to you, money, a jewel, an item, a possession, okay? It can be your body and mind. It can be your free time, right? You're holding on to something, and you take that and give it away. So you are exercising the power to detach. You are exercising the power to actively let go of what you're holding on to. This applies to thoughts. This applies to negative physical formations. It applies to desires and fears. It's very, very deep, but we need to work with it on the level that is most accessible. Now, if we get like the idea of doing good deeds or being generous, and then we start trying to give advice to people, or we start trying to counsel people with our thoughts, right? Your thoughts aren't that valuable. Most of the time, you can't give away your thoughts fast enough. Please take away my thoughts, get rid of my thoughts. I can't stand these things, right? So we need to be very careful to not like helping other people or giving advice to somebody because they don't understand. At the beginning, we need to really practice generosity in terms of making donations, in terms of volunteering, in terms of using our body, our free time to serve the needs of the others, not to give advice. Is that clear, Justin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So it's just something to be mindful of. Of course, sometimes there might be the right place to like give advice if somebody asks for it. But in general, we don't want to start doing good deeds or practicing generosity by trying to help other people's minds or give advice, because really that's a professional level activity. That's somebody who's a therapist or someone who has all this life experience and whatever, and their time now is very valuable. Their mind is very valuable. So them giving it away or offering it out is for them a generosity. But at the beginning, we got to be careful about that stuff and just mow the grass for your parents, clean up your room, clean your parents' toilets, donate some money, volunteer, right? That kind of stuff. Just keep it simple, 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 simple is better.
Sir?
So do we have another question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
So I've not been able to get any motivation, and I've been procrastinating a lot, and I can't stick to my routine, and I'm not doing anything all day, and I don't know what to do.
So running is pretty based and pretty cool, right? Like being a runner, that's something that we all would love to aspire to, right? Like it would be great if we start jogging or running, that we get involved with that, right? Can we all agree on that? It's kind of a generally based high-level activity to be a runner, someone who
Yes,
goes for
100%.
runs.
Runners,
Okay.
runners is based.
Okay.
I'm in
Okay.
my
Okay.
Crocs.
Okay. So, how could you become a runner? I'll answer it. Rhetorical question. The moment that you step out the door and start running, you have become a runner. You have achieved that level of baseness. So the way that we step into discipline or motivation or getting involved is just like stepping off a cliff. The moment that you take that first step, you fall off. You're falling. The moment that you start practicing it, you're doing it. You've achieved it. So we just need to become skillful to take that first step. And to take that first step means that we need to stop thinking about becoming that special version of ourselves. We just need to start working with the first step. That is everything. The beginner's mind. We have to let go of this big, complicated idea of the Sigma male American psycho Adonis that we want to become, and we just need to step forward into that practice, that exercise, that walk, that present moment breathing, that exploring the Plum Village app, etc. Okay? Just take the first step. You get better at things by your experience, by your practice. All right.
Okay.
So,
do you have
what?
How much time do you advise we should meditate per day?
No, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Practice now. Do you want to become skillful in meditation? Do you want to learn to meditate? Meditate now. All right? There's no period of time. It's meditation as exploration. Justin, please mute your mic, Justin. So we start by stopping. This is it. And from this place of this is it, we take a step forward. We take a mindful breath. We enter into the present moment experiencing naturally. approach meditation as exploration and use the Plum Village app. Okay? Use the Plum Village app. Now, our lecture has been going on for about 1.5 hours. That means that we should be have practiced about 1.5 hours of mindfulness, present moment breathing, present moment listening, present moment being. Okay? Who else has a question?
So, okay, when it comes to like making a routine of doing these things, are you saying it should be like more of a casual thing that you just kind of like incorporate to what you already do? Or like, because a lot of people like do something like oh, this is my New Year's resolution. Because I know personally for me, like when I started working out, I just like randomly started, and I've been doing it for over a year now consistently.
There is no other reality than outside of this moment. You are currently at the core of the fundamental reality of all universal truths and principles. This is it. This is it. If you want to work out, start working out now. Start doing push-ups now. If you want to meditate, start being focused on your breathing now.
So you're saying like take action instantly. Don't like set a time to start or something like that.
Don't set up a time to start. Don't set up an idea of someone who needs to start. Just start. Just start being generous. Just start following the 5 precepts. Just start using the Plum Village app. Just start messaging Bhante and asking Bhante or asking Monk, okay, can you give me a guided meditation to listen to? Okay, what's that app you mentioned? What do I do? And when you ask it, when you say it, be ready to practice, period. Start now. Start being mindful now. Start breathing now.
Thank you.
You're welcome, brother.
What was the app called?
Go to the lecture announcements and you'll see it. And also, while you guys are at it, everybody here, you guys can see my YouTube channel there. Why don't we go ahead and give a like bomb to this video? So we've got 50 people in this Adonis Q&A. And if you guys go to my lecture, the lecture announcements are also posted in the general chat. This is the YouTube live stream link. So if you guys all want to go over there to subscribe and to follow my channel so that you can join for group meditations later, but also you'll just be able to stay in touch with me, right? And you guys can all leave a like. And let's see it go from 30 to 80. Okay. You guys all see the channel? Maybe some of you are already subscribed or checked in. So that's an act of generosity. But you don't do it. Generosity is not about meeting the desires of other people. It is the opportunity to be generous and then offering out. It's not about the other person's desire. It's not about you or the other person. It's offering out. It's sharing out. That's it.
I have another question about finding meaning in life.
Yeah. Go ahead, ask it. It's okay.
I have a question about finding meaning. How do we find our meaning?
Well, say a little bit more about it.
Like sometimes we don't know what to do. We are lost. I'm not sure how
Like
to say
trying to
it.
find your purpose.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I found my purpose. I have found my purpose by doing good deeds. I have found my purpose by being generous. I have found my purpose by doing my best to help the others, not to just focus on myself. We are in a real situation where we have an opportunity to do good. We have an opportunity to help the others. We have an opportunity to be mindful, to step into the present moment, to step into reality. We have an opportunity to change our life and change our mind. We're not going to be able to do that by thinking about it. We're going to be able to do it by the actions. Actions of what? Doing good, being generous, doing good deeds, helping the others, using this body and mind for the others, not just for ourselves. This is what life is all about. This is the real deal. We got to accept that. We got to recognize that. What is the purpose of life outside of doing good and being good? Helping the others. So, from my point of view, the purpose of life is to do good and experience and rejoice and have happiness about the effects of doing good. To help others do good and experience the effects of doing good. Take it even further, to develop a deeper understanding, to develop a deeper wisdom through our practices of living a virtuous life and through our practices of meditation, developing wisdom, and to help others develop wisdom and experience the benefits of wisdom. You understand?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on things like drawing?
It's okay. You practice. You need to play also. Play is also important. Innocence and openness and gentleness is also important. So it's not about being so serious. In terms of being serious, we should be generous and we should do good deeds more and more. And then we should have this priority, like a natural kind of organic priority on being good. And we can use that system of 5 precepts, 5 guidelines for living to be good. And then we can step into exploring the deeper wisdom or the deeper meditation through the Plum Village app. Okay? But other than that, we can play, and we can play in a virtuous way, in a gentle way, in a mindful way, in a creative way. Not just this play of like consumption or pleasure. So explore your art, but practice it with mindfulness. Practice it with that heart of generosity and freedom, right? That heart of peace, that heart of exploration. And that's really good to do. That's really wonderful to do.
You know, it's funny because I was literally trying to draw the monk's eyes because mashallah, his eyes are like really beautiful. I just like started drawing them.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, you can send to me. I'll take a look at it.
Oh, bro, it's bad. I'm a beginner. I cannot.
No, but that's
send it to
great.
people.
That's a generosity. Not about good or bad. It's about generosity. That's a good point. It's not about good or bad. It's not about being skillful or unskillful. It's about being generous. Okay. Other questions?
Yes, I'd actually love to ask you this. So, considering you're in the space of like meditation and mindfulness as well as like being present in the moment, this got me thinking because I was watching a very recent video of Hamza where he explains that you are not your thoughts. You are not the person thinking. Basically what you are is you are the consciousness behind those thoughts. And I would love to have your opinion on that if you could elaborate, because I think there's just some lack of clarity on my part. That's all.
Yeah. So basically, you identify with your body, right? You say, and I say, this is my body, right? This is me. But this body is not separate from the environment, right? This body is not separate from the sun. It's not separate from the oxygen in the room. It's not separate from the room. Also, this body is not separate from my ancestors, right? My parents, my parents' parents, and all these influences from the environment. So the body and the environment go together. The body and the mind, they go together. In this way, there is a nature of the body or the nature of the mind that is more like awareness, more like presence, more like the capacity to be aware. And we can call this the real mind or the true mind. Okay? So when we practice meditation, we emphasize that opening, that widening out, that natural awareness rather than that grasping on control, right? Grasping on someone, some place, some time, some experience. Kind of open the heart-mind to present moment experiencing, present moment awareness. And it's something that's very natural. It's not complicated, but we enter into it by first being generous, then being like good, caring about being good, which means we start to care about our conduct and how that conduct creates effects that we then have to deal with, right? And then we enter into this place of mindfulness, which is like present moment breathing. Present moment breathing and being aware. Present moment going for a walk in nature. And even though thoughts and stories and ideas come up, we're aware of them, and then we can come back to our breathing. We can come back to the heart beating. We can come back to the body walking. Right? Understand?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
So it's not something that you will necessarily be able to understand intellectually, but you can empathize with that understanding, and then you can practice in such a way where you start to develop the relationship with that experience. And then you will understand directly through your experience rather than your thinking. Okay?
Yes, yes.
All right, so how's everybody feeling? How's everybody? Let's just get a check-in. I'm going to open the lecture chat back up. And like the lecture chat, so we'll have a text channel where people can communicate. And let's hear how's everybody feeling? How's the lecture been so far? And where's the mind at? Where's the heart at? In the lecture chat channel.
It's been
Maybe-
great though, Monk.
What's that?
It's been great.
Oh, yeah.
The lecture.
So
Been enjoying it.
let's take a moment to just stand up a little bit. Stretch out together a little bit. That's a nice aspect of the audio video and the live quality. We can do things together, right? It's not just about something we're watching or listening to, but we can practice things together. So let's step back and just stand up. And we can open out, widen out our arms, stretch out our heart and our lungs. When we open up the body, we also open up the mind. So, stand up, open the heart, open out the body and mind, widen out, brighten out. Man. Ooh, we got to shake it out sometimes, right? There's a lot of stress, a lot of complicatedness. a lot of people, a lot of places, a lot of situations, a lot of good and bad. So just being able to widen out, open out, brighten out, not just constricting around this body and mind, but open. Open out, widen out. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. How about you guys try to practice this one with me? Just stand up, open your arms wide, open widely, and you can repeat after me. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. Breathing in, aware. Breathing out, aware. And we can also bring a smile to our face. Breathing in, we smile. Breathing out, we smile. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I smile to my whole body. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body here and now. Breathing out, I forgive my whole body here and now. Breathing in, aware. Breathing out, forgive. Forgiveness. Now, these lectures and any event that's something like this with a monk or a monk or a meditation teacher or something like this, this is a meditation, right? So when we join for this kind of lecture, when we join for this kind of event, it's all about present moment breathing, present moment experiencing, and just that the image of the monk and hopefully the tone of my voice, the way that I speak, is all there to support you in being mindful and letting go. Being mindful and letting go. And we all have that opportunity, not just in this moment, but in any moment, to recognize that we are getting caught up in complicated thinking, or caught up in some kind of stress or negativity. And at that moment, come back to the breathing. Come back to our intention to be good and to do good, and our willingness to be generous. So let's finish with a guided meditation, okay? Before we wrap up our session, and it's nice to light some incense. So as I am lighting this incense for our guided meditation, why don't you guys make sure that you find a comfortable, stable meditation position. You can adjust the way that you're sitting or the way that you're being so that you kind of transition into meditation mode, whatever that means for you. And we're actually going to listen to a guided meditation from a monk named Brother Phap Lu, or Te Phap Lu. And this is one of my mentors. This is a monk that I really look up to, and he's kind of connected with the Plum Village app that I've told you guys about. And we'll listen to a guided meditation, just a short, very short guided meditation together with him. And I'm so happy to be able to share this with you guys because he's a really amazing teacher, really, really high level teacher. Well, what's the saying? They say go big or go home. Isn't that the saying? Is that right? Go big or go home? Okay. So this is going to be a guided meditation for us to listen to. That's a deep meditation. And I hope you guys will do your best to follow along and to practice this with me, okay? I'm just going to pull up the video and everything so we can watch it together. Listen to it together. And actually, it's not watching or listening. We're going to practice this together. Okay? This is a practice. Okay, wow, this is going to be so sweet. Okay, so we are going to transition now to this guided meditation, and there's going to be some interesting elements that go along with that, such as we are going to, Bante is going to turn on his camera in the Discord call, and then we're also going to limit the room only to the people who are here, so no one else is going to be able to join. If you did get disconnected, of course, you can follow along on YouTube, and you'll have the same experience. Anybody who's in the VC now who doesn't want to join for the meditation, you can go out. Okay, you don't need to stay in, but this is going to be a really high level kind of special meditation, all right? So the screen share is going to be here. Streaming channel, source. All right, so I want to make sure all of you guys are clicked on to the screen share and make sure the audio is working on it. Everyone in the Discord call? Great. So let's just check the audio, make sure it's working. Okay, is it loud enough? Well, I guess we'll see. Okay, and that's great. All right, so before we start, let's get some... Uh-oh. So before we start, let's get some W's in the chat, everybody. Whatever chat you can find, put W's in there. Okay, and if you are watching on TikTok, please go directly over to the YouTube channel to join us for this guided meditation. Screen share. Okay, you guys can click on again to the screen share. And W's in the YouTube chat, okay? Don't forget to leave a like, guys, and to share. If Hazley, please go over to YouTube, okay? Anyone who's watching on TikTok and is going to join us for this meditation, go to the YouTube channel. Don't watch on TikTok. Go over to YouTube. All right. Everybody in the chat ready for meditation here in the Discord call? You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. Uh-oh.
What was the name of the monk?
Well, we're going to listen to the guided meditation, so you'll experience it all for yourself. Okay? All right. Okay, here we go. So find your comfortable, stable position for your body. And let's listen to this together. Okay, here we go.
Dear friend, please enjoy this short meditation on mindfulness of thinking. You may like to find a stable position for your body and bring your attention gently back to your breathing. Breathing in, I become aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I become aware of my out-breath. In, out. Breathing in, I become aware of my body in whatever position I may be, whether sitting, standing, even walking, or lying down. I just become aware of it. Breathing out, I relax my body. I release any tension in my body. In, aware of the body. Out, relaxing body. Breathing in, I feel joy to be alive. Like a spring within a mountain whose clear, pure water flows out and down all sides of that mountain and bubbles up even in places where water has not previously entered, saturating the entire mountain. In the same way, I allow joy, born from awareness of the breath, to permeate the whole of my body, present everywhere. Breathing out, I smile to life, to all the wonders of life within me and around me. In, feeling joy to be alive. Out, smiling. Breathing in, I become aware of my thinking, of whatever thoughts are passing through, coming and going. I'm just aware of them as they are. Breathing out, I smile to my thoughts. They pass like the clouds. Even if I try, I cannot grab onto them. In, aware of thoughts. Out, smiling to the thoughts. Breathing in, I notice how paying attention to certain thoughts may give rise to emotions, like water and sunlight sprouting a seed. Breathing out, I let go of my thinking. I allow my mind to be free, not letting my attention dwell on any particular thought. In, aware of thoughts. Out, letting thoughts go. Breathing in, I touch immense space inside. Thoughts come and go freely like birds in the sky, with no hindrance. I can shine the lamp of mindfulness clearly in every direction. I am not controlled by my thinking. Breathing out, I feel free. I smile a smile of freedom. In, immense space. Out, smiling and free. Dwelling happily in the present moment, I breathe in, enjoying fully this very moment. I breathe out. Present moment, wonderful moment.
Thank you all so much for joining, and really proud of you guys on Discord for sticking this out and for staying with the practice. That was Teifa Blue of the Thich Nhat Hanh Plum Village tradition. So you guys can get more access to his guided meditations and teachings through the Plum Village app. And there's a lot that you can learn through that app. This will be the finishing point or the ending point of our live stream and our lecture for today. So keep it simple, keep it open, and remember, present moment, wonderful moment, share, brighten for all.
Uh, I don't want to interrupt, but I also have another question.
See you guys next time. Bye,
Or we
Pekka.
can just like,
Bye. Bye.
all right, bye, man. I'm not gonna waste your time.
Have a nice day.
What's your question, Pekka?
So I use a different meditation app. It's named Medito. Probably saw on the server. Would you say about the Plum app? Should I just start using the Plum app, or you think for now like, Medito is good, or it's just my choice?
Yeah, go explore the Plum Village app. You are already skillful to use Medito. Now it's time to use the Plum Village app full time. Okay? Try your best.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
You got it, brother. Okay. Bye, guys.
All right, bye. Bye. Hope
Bye
you have a
bye.
great day, man.
Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
You too.
And everybody on YouTube, don't be shy to leave a like and share with your friends or with young people in your life. This lecture is set up for the young people to understand. So if you have some nephew or niece or young person that you know, you can share with them and they can take a look. All right.